calculus is made up of many smaller parts. Math is no different. In math, one of these systems is called an equation. An equation is made up of variables, constants, and symbols. But what if one of these parts was missing? Let's take a look. Here is an equation. X plus 3 is equal to 0. In this equation, x is a variable, while 3 and 0 are called constants. Well, what is missing from this equation? The value of x. So how can we find the value of x? All we have to do is solve. So let's do it. We can start by writing this equation again. Now, in order to solve this equation and find the value of x, we need to keep x alone on one side of the equal sign and take everything else on the other side. So let's do it. Notice what happened. When we took positive 3 to the other side of the equal sign, it became negative 3. So anytime we take a term to the other side of the equal sign, the sign changes. In this case, positive 3 became negative 3. So, x is equal to 0 minus 3, or x is equal to negative 3. Let's look at another example. Here is another equation. b minus 6 is equal to 0. In order to solve this equation, we need to keep b alone on one side of the equal sign and take everything else to the other side. So let's look at it. Let's take negative 6 to the other side of the equal sign so we can keep b alone. As you can see, we took negative 6 to the other side of the equal sign, and it became positive 6. So the value of b is 0 plus 6, or positive 6. Let's look at something a little different. Here is another equation. But notice how this equation has a fraction. M plus 1/2 is equal to 0. So let's write this equation again. In order to keep m alone on one side of the equation, we must take everything else on the other side. So let's take positive 1/2 to the other side of the equal sign. Notice how how positive 1/2 became negative 1/2 when we took it to the other side of the equal sign. So n is equal to 0 minus 1/2, or negative 1/2. Let's look at another example. Here is another equation. R minus 3/4 is equal to 0. This equation also has a fraction. So let's write it again. Now, in order to keep r alone and find the value of r, we must take negative 3/4 to the other side of the equal sign. So let's do it. As you can see, negative 3/4 became positive 3/4 when we took it to the other side of the equal sign. So r is equal to 0 plus 3/4, or positive 3/4. Let's look at a few more examples. Here's another equation. However, in this equation, instead of 0 on the right side of the equal sign, there's a 1. So in order to solve this equation, let's start by writing it again. Keep in mind that in order to solve and find the value of c, we must take everything else to the other side of the equal sign. So let's do it. Notice how negative 8 became positive 8 when we moved it to the other side of the equal sign. So, c is equal to 1 plus 8, or c is equal to positive 9. Now let's look at something a little different. Y plus 7 is equal to 2. Let's solve this equation. But first, let's write it again. In order to solve, we need to take positive 7 to the other side of the equal sign. Positive 7 became negative 7 when we moved it to the other side of the equal sign. So, y is equal to 2 minus 7, or y is equal to negative 5.